Obviously, they've got to adjust quickly to the loss of revenue, which is tremendous. Losing a route, you don't have any of that revenue. You do have all the expenses, but they have a limited ability to adjust expenses as quickly as the revenue dissipates. But that's what they're trying to do with partially paid leaves, maybe returning lease aircraft early. It depends on how long this drags out. But they have a limited ability, which means their balance sheet and their cash is a management issue for them, not just long-term profitability.
Yeah, and the airlines with the higher debt loads are the ones that have performed worst lately. What do you do as a CEO if you're dealing with a high debt load and a demand shortfall and supply issues? I mean, how do you address all those concerns?
Well, and that's a tough thing, and it depends on how your expenses are locked in, whether it's variable with the airports that you lease space from, the airplanes themselves, and of course your labor. And all of those have remedies for traumatic things that happen, but they're fairly severe. So you try not to go to a default or close to default type of remedies and deal with them. But that's, like you say, on multiple fronts, everything quits. But revenue needs to come in the door because expenses are still occurring just like always.
Gordon, would you fly right now?
Oh, sure. I went to North Carolina just this weekend, came back yesterday. Listen, there's more people die from the flu every year than this coronavirus. The people that we just heard about, I'm sorry to say, because I lived in King County, but that was an assisted living home, which people are fairly advanced age and not, they're vulnerable. But I think healthy people like yourselves, I mean, you might get a case of the flu, but that's not the end of the world. And I really think this will be put in perspective as it kind of mitigates, as it grows, it mitigates.
But I hear you. And you know, next week is spring break week for my kids, and everybody we know is planning to go somewhere. And I can tell you this much, Gordon, of just the 5 or 6 families that we have just texted with or talked to in the last 48 hours, all of them are rethinking their plans to go. Is that silly? Are they being overly cautious?
I think parents have to be cautious, and they're the ones that need to make those tough decisions. If you're going to Florida for spring break, there's nothing wrong with Florida. There's nothing wrong with spring break. And this country of 320 million have 5 people who died on the West Coast. I don't think it's really a threat to your children. I would go back to being normal, and I'd get on the airplane tomorrow if I had to go to New York for a meeting. It's not here. It may get here, but I don't know how bad it's going to be.